welcome to another episode of How to Pixelmon. Yes, come with me, Cloister, Cryogonal. We're going to need you for this episode, because today we're going to be going over something a little special, which is going to be defensive walls, that of course featuring Cloister and Cryogonal. So let's take a look at these two right about now. First off, we have Cloister. Notice the exterior shell, and of course, a nice blue color when it's shiny, as opposed to the purple. And for the Cryogonal, we get some yellow eyes, a little spooky, maybe a little brighter, a little warmth in that little snowflake of his. So, we have those two here. Now, we're going to look at Cloister first, because Cloister is going to be our physical defense wall. Here is an untrained Cloister. It already has 237 defense. Cloister is one of the highest defense Pokemon in the game, and it's definitely going to take a hit from just about any physical attack in the game. Now, before we've talked about physical attacks and special attacks and how they're different, and here's how, here's where that knowledge is really going to come in useful, because we have defense here and special defense here. Now, if you use a Thunder Punch on Cloister, it's not going to do much because of this massive defense. It's going to probably take out a fourth or a third of his health. But if you use a Thunder Shock from a Pikachu, it'll probably kill this thing just because it's tiny little special defense. But this thing also has a little bit of health and a little bit of special defense to go with it. Now looking at Cryogonal, let's take a look at this one. It has the special defense to withstand something like a flamethrower potentially. But look at that defense. It's not going to live through a Fire Fang or a Stone Edge at all. So what do you do with Pokemon that are specifically high in one defense but not the other? They got a little bit of health to back those up, but what if they're attacked by that? Well, we can either try to round it out by giving this guy some defense, or we could embrace it. And that would mean, of course, using these guys for the very specific purpose of defending against either physical attacks or special attacks. Now, by doing this, it would pretty much mean you're going to have to know when to switch your Pokemon. Because you can start with Cloister, and then if they send out something that's going to use a special attack on you, and you know that they have special attacks, that's when you switch to Cryogonal. If they have a physical attacker out there, that's when you switch to Cloister. So it's really important that you know your opponent's team, know the Pokemon that they're using, and have a little bit of knowledge and backup to actually be able to make use of Pokemon with this purpose. So, seeing that being said, we're going to want to train up our Cloister with defense and health. Now here's one that I've trained up a little bit, so it has a lot of defense and a lot of health. Its moveset is definitely something more for utility, because it has Toxic Spikes, a great starting move. It's going to poison anyone who switches, and if you're switching between these two, that means your enemy is going to be needing to switch as well, so they're going to get poisoned. We also have Supersonic, because it's a tanky Pokemon. Why not slow their attacks down a little bit so you can stay out a little longer? And of course, Ice Beam and Surf, two attacks that Cloister has some stabs on, so it can put out a little bit of damage. If you wanted to try it out, maybe put a Rest on him, you could, but I think having the attacks is a little bit more worth it. And normally Rest is not a good idea, because then they'll just switch to something that can kill you and do so. So, we can now look at Cryogonal, and a moveset on him would definitely be something with, we also have a Confuse right here, so that's Confuse. One thing I really like about Cryogonal, it has Recover. So I think Recover is definitely worth having as opposed to Rest. So keeping Recover is a good thing. Of course, Ice Beam to do a little bit of damage, and another move you need such as Solar Beam, or it can also learn TMs such as Flash Cannon or Hyper Beam. So I just have that because if you don't have a Grass Pokemon on your team, this is one that can actually use Solar Beam effectively. Now, that you have those two trained in health and whatever their defense is. If you are training a Cloister, you're going to want to train it to be from a bold or relaxed nature. That'll make sure to make the best of that physical defense while getting rid of its physical attack or speed. Now, for Cryogonal, you probably want to train it for calm or sassy, which will do the pretty much same thing but for the special defense stat. But also for Cryogonal, it has some really good base speed that you can work with. So if you can get a calm-natured one for this purpose, that would be ideal. But you don't have to. Either one would work. And the speed could just be something you let go. But another way to train Cryogonal is, of course, to embrace the speed. Now, you can also keep in mind that he's a special defender and switch when you need to, but you may not take as many hits as you would otherwise. So we can just train him for a really good speed and special attack. His speed is pretty good. You can definitely train him up with a timid or hasty nature. Hasty would of course lower the defense without lowering the special defense. Or you could train him up for special attack with modest or quiet, and he would still be a very good attacker. This one I have here is actually trained up for that purpose. With those moves, a jolly nature, giving it speed, lowers its special attack a little bit, but you know, it's not that bad. So we have some decent special attack. You'll be able to 2-hit most Pokemon, and speed of 205, so we can outspeed most Pokemon. So that's another way to train them. Now when it comes to items you want to put on these guys, of course if you're making a very tanky one, leftovers would be the way to go. If you're not training them for any damage, don't go for a Shell Bell. But if you are training one of these guys, then maybe a Shell Bell would be the way to go. Or of course, since they only have one attack, you may want to go for a choice item even, and it would be able to be very effective. However, with the other moves it has, it could definitely be very versatile with having something such as a metronome on it instead. Anyway, that's going to be the episode. So if you have enjoyed this, make sure you leave a like on the video and let me know down in the comments below what you would like to see in the next How to Pixelmon. Your choice means everything. Hopefully you learned how to possibly utilize the special defense or physical defense walls. Just make sure you're quick with your switches and you know what Pokemon you're going up against. If you don't have extensive knowledge of other Pokemon, it may not be the best thing for you to worry about this at all. Just have a tanky Pokemon, don't really worry about specifics of it at all. But if you think you can handle it, go ahead and train one of these. I'm going to actually try to have a couple things like this on my team coming up here soon. So, thank you all for watching, and goodbye.